Good morning, guys. Welcome to Approach the Nerd. This is our Yashahime, potentially season 2, act 2, season finale. I took a lot of notes because we have a few things to talk about, but not really. This episode for me felt a little bit not rushed, but kind of like out of sorts, if this makes sense. Like, I feel like a lot of things happened because they were trying to resolve a lot of stuff very quickly, and it all just kind of ran together. And so I did not dislike this episode, but I would be lying if I said I'm a little disappointed in some of the things that happened. Case in point, we still have not had all the OGs together. They have not, like, we did not see Kagome and Inuyasha hanging out with Sango and Moroku and Kagome seeing, the kids and how much they've aged. We didn't see any of that. We did get a moment of Kagome freaking out about her daughter being in debt with Jubei. They never met Jubei. Instead, Kagome basically told Inuyasha, go help your daughter get out of debt. Like right now, go slay some demons. I mean, that's literally how that went. Still a good scene because you get to see the marriage dynamic and see that Kagome really wears the pants in their relationship. But it was so, like, for lack of a better word, I see it in the chat. I was just about to say this. It was very lackluster for me, which is really weird because I don't know if we're getting a season. Well, I read articles saying we're getting season 3 and that Sunrise is doing that. They're also doing another season of Tiger and Bunny, so I don't know which is going to come first. Obviously there's no release date yet, so I know we're supposed to be getting a season 3, but the way they tied off season 2 is just very odd. So let's move forward. Like, we have Riku. Riku is still alive. They just briefly mention it. He shows up at Jubei's to hire the girls to go slay demons in the West. And it's actually Riku in disguise. And of course, Toa recognizes him, punches over his head, and then says, I'm glad that you're okay. And it's like, that's awesome. But that's really all they didn't talk about feelings or anything. It was just like, all right, cool, you're alive. Basically that was it. The fight with Inuyasha and Roha versus the ice demon when they were getting the ice sword of Ue, whatever, to get back to Jubei because she owes 1 ryo, and if she gets that sword, if she can go back and if Jubei agrees, he'll pay off she's basically debt free, which I think that he probably told her he would give her that amount to get her debt free because, number one, it wasn't a big amount. I mean, she could have been debt free with Takachio's job, but she chose to keep doing it. And also because I don't think he wants to deal with Inuyasha and Kagome. He was like, oh, your parents helped you. Well, maybe I should just let you get out of debt. But it was interesting. I love the fight with them. I love how, because we're so used to Kagome and Inuyasha, it was so cool to see Inuyasha and his daughter and her using, like basically doing like sacred arrows and then using her special attack she inherited, or she's got her fire dragon attack. I just love that fight thing. I thought it was very cute, but like, I don't know. There's so many disjointed scenes. Like, we saw Miroku and Sango and then the twins, and Shippo is teaching. He was teaching the raccoon demons, Takachio's clan, basically. I guess it would be Kyosuke's clan. Fox demon magic, which I don't know why he bothered doing that because they're not fox demons, but and we learned, I think he's a 19th rank. That's great. I'm glad you're progressing. And then he goes and sees Sango and Moroku, and they're all like, oh, yay, we're happy. And then the twins pounce on him, and he's like, stop your twins, damn it. Is what it is. Hisue was training with Setsuna. She tried to give him a love letter from Princess Ai, and he's like, well, why would I take that from her when he's about to say when I love you or I like you, but she kind of cuts him off because they're going on a training adventure, so she leaves. And Hisue vows to train with Kawaku to get stronger, so when Setsuna comes back, he basically will be at least on her level. So Hisue wants Setsuna, but we all knew this. So I mean, it was not a shock. But it is what it is. Maroha got to hug her parents goodbye. She also had Toa and Setsuna hug her and say that she's a very good friend. And I really wanted them to also say, and a damn good cousin, because you're family. They act like, it just seems so weird to me sometimes. They act like they're not cousins. They're just friends. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I know you can be friends with your cousin, but it's just like they don't say cousin, they say friend. It's really weird. So I was a little lackluster for that. Um, I Kaide's village was destroyed and they were rebuilding, and that was realistic to me because unfortunately that battle, a lot of people probably lost their homes. But what's so interesting to me is that Kagome and Inuyasha still have their house. I guess a poor village like Kaide, they don't take property when people are gone for 14 years. I don't know how that works. I have no idea. Rin made two kimonos from fabric that Sesshomaru gave her, for both for Setsuna and for Toa. And they're like, "Oh, this is so expensive. Do we deserve this?" I'm like, "Your mama gave you kimonos. Just stop. Just take the damn kimonos." It's like, what? I will say another realistic conversation is the fact that Toa and Setsuna were trying to figure out why in the hell their dad let them go through all that shit and that helped them more. And of course, here's Setsuna. It's probably the right of courage and cowardice. Maybe dad was testing us to make sure we were strong, sink or swim. And then Moroha shows up and says, "Yeah, your dad just believed that that you were going to be okay, even though both kind of died at some point. Your dad had faith in you." And they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, it was like, what? Even when Rin was talking to them about their dad, she's like, "Yeah, being half demons, you're going to be attacked all the time." And she seemed like excited about it. I'm like, what mother is excited to tell their kids that they're in danger all the time? And of course, as soon as "Well, we'll just cut them down," she's like, "Your dad will be so pleased." I'm like, what is happening in this episode? I don't understand what is happening. The girl's deciding to go off and take Riku up on his offer to slay demons in the West. Or sea monsters, basically. They just got back together with their families. Have not really been around them consistently for 14 years. And we're like, "All right, cool, peace out." What? Guys, honestly, if you were to ask me what this episode was about, I would say nothing. Yes, we got to see some bonding between certain characters. Yes, we got to get Moroha out of debt. Yes, we got Riku alive. Yes, we've got, Rin finally getting her daughter's, kimonos and having a flashback to staring at them for 5 minutes because she only had 5 minutes when they were born. Yes, Moroha got to be felt valued by her cousins, even though she's the friend, and also got to give her parents a hug. She got to fight alongside her dad. She got to get out of, she got out of debt. We finally got confirmation that Hisoe is in the Setsuna and doesn't want anything to do with Princess Aya, which is probably going to cause issues in season 3. But what did we really have in this episode? It was weird. It was like a bunch. It almost felt like a bunch of scenes were animated and spread out and were actually cut from different, the past 3 episodes and then put together for the finale. Like, it didn't seem real to me, like an actual plot-driven conclusion, if that makes sense. I guess I got spoiled by Inuyasha, so that's really my fault. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what this episode was about. Even when the last scene when they're fighting, I love Moroha doing her, Sacred Arrow Barrage type attack and taking all of those like monsters down at one time, but they didn't take the big boss out. And then you have Setsuna and Toa show up and say, "We're Sesshomaru's daughters." That's all cool. That was badass. Little pose. I liked it. But my problem with that is, in what universe could Riku have not taken out those sea monsters by himself? We have seen him do a hell of a lot worse. So you mean to tell me that basically just sea monsters that are just around the Io province is something that he and Takachio couldn't handle by themselves? I'm sorry. I call BS on that. They just needed him to not be able to do that so that girls could shine. And I think that actually for me is a little insulting because the girls are strong on their own. We don't need to save Riku. Riku has it. Unless Riku is completely depowered, which I don't think so, because he was able to transform, like he was able to shift and make himself look into some, like someone else. Riku could have handled every one of those demons by himself. That made no sense to me. So again, what was this episode about? Like, I don't know what this episode is about. It's a thing, guys. It is a thing. I mean, I'm gonna be real. Lackluster is probably how I feel about this episode. I don't feel like we got closure. Yes, we resolved some things, but I mean, the OGs are not together, and they're basically implying that these girls are going on this demon hunting adventure to get stronger, which means we're gonna see even less of them. So we saw Inuyasha and the rest for like a millisecond. We never got to see them together, though. We never got to see the OG team reunited in one space, where they all hung out, except for the last episode where they're all just standing separately apart and not doting on each other because they have been separated for 14 years. It's weird. It's just really weird. We never got that really wholesome scene that most people that were fans of the OG show would have loved to have. It almost seems like these people are completely different from the OG Inuyasha series and the final act. It's like you guys were bonded, you know? If you look at how Kagome left her world to come to their world to be with Inuyasha, she didn't just leave her family. She left modern technology and medicine. If she got cancer tomorrow, she is SOL. They don't have chemo in the feudal era. So I mean, there's a lot she sacrificed, and it's almost like everybody keeps to themselves. Everybody has their happy little bubbles in their own house. It's just weird. It's really, really weird. I honestly feel like the writers and maybe even the showrunner of this show kind of lost what they were doing at some point, and they were playing it by ear. They were winging it. And I'm hoping Sunrise because Sunrise is supposed to be doing this for season 3. I'm hoping that they get a better staff. And I hate saying it like that because it sounds mean, but yeah, it's like we got this big buildup to this. Sesshomaru wasn't even around his daughters. Like, you saw him from the ground when the girls were going off on Kirala, and I'm like, were you even going to say goodbye to your parents? Did you even tell your parents you were going on this journey? Like, it's just like, what is happening? Like, they were just going to up and leave. If Rin wasn't on the top of the hill saying, bye, take care. It's like, what? And of course, the Shummer's there, and Towa's like, I want to talk to you more, Dad. Rin, let's go. And Jockin's like, oh, you're happy. And I'm like, what? Like, we went through all of this shit for that. That's really how I feel, guys. I'm looking at the time. I literally have not much else to say at 13 minutes in. That's pretty sad if you really think about it, because I always have something to say. I don't get what happened. Like, I don't understand what happened. I would like to know how they carried that ice sword of Uwe back, because apparently it's like extremely cold. Like, they're just holding it and skipping. All right, I'm off. I'm like, why wouldn't Inuyasha and Kagome go with her to Jubei's and be like, this is my daughter's last effing job? I don't get it. The only other thing I didn't mention, only because it's just really stupid, is that at the very beginning of this episode, we had the tree spirit that took on the form of Kikyo thanking Sesshomaru by talking to herself, saying, thank you and your daughters for, stopping the degeneration age, and then fading away. What was the effing point to this character? She was around for the first 3 episodes of season 1, and then we see her at the tail end of this season, and it's like, okay, what was your point? You didn't advise anything. You didn't do anything. They built this character up like she was going to be this mysterious, impactful character, and she was basically a voiceover. That's literally what she was. She's a voiceover in animated form. I don't understand what that was about. It was weird. It was really weird. So I guess I'm being very real today. I'm always real on my channel, but I did not dislike the episode because there were cute moments and Riku is still alive. And at least I did get a little bit of the scene I wanted with Kagome and Inuyasha freaking out about her being in debt, even though Miroha did not tell them the story, which is stupid. She could have been like, yeah, my master that raised me got into debt and I have to pay off her debt. I would have loved to see the reaction to that. But I don't know. I don't know. That's how I feel. And it sucks because, it's a show with very, very big potential. And I just feel like they effing dropped the ball on this finale. They dropped the ball on this, like big time. I mean, honestly, throw in them bonding a little bit and then go back to the episode last week, make Riku alive at the end, and get Moroha out of debt, and you pretty much had a season finale last week. You didn't need to have this episode. This was like a filler episode when it doesn't need to be a filler. A filler episode should not be your season finale. I'm just going to put that out there. So that's how I feel. All right, let's go and look at some comments. Yes, I think it was rushed. Yeah, I see. And that's the thing. I don't even know if I can say it was rushed. It's almost like they just took a bunch of scenes that they cut out of the last 2 or 3 episodes and then saved it for this and just put it all together and made it a finale. That's what it feels like. It was lackluster end of the season. Yep. Riku being alive made me happy. I was happy about that too, but they aren't going to dive into why. They're just like, oh, like Rion's, Khan. And like, I think they said something like Karimaru's, Haku. All right. So then what does that mean? And Toa's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, cool. So since you don't know, we have to accept as viewers not knowing too. Gotcha. Doesn't make any damn sense. Like, I do think they needed to add a few more episodes because it was a bit rushed. The plot was very rushed and all over the place. Oh, I forgot to mention, we got to see the Higurashi Shrine. Mo playing the violin as we saw all the souvenirs that you could get at the shrine. Then we got to see May drawing pictures of the girls. And then the little dialogue between all of them where the mother's like, I really hope Moroha gets to live with Kagome and Inuyasha. And Sota's like, well, the fact that we're still here peacefully means obviously they're fine. And then, May wanting to be like strong like her older sister. May misses Toa. I mean, it still burns me that Toa left like that. But then again, when I saw her reaction to Riku dying, where she was only upset for like 2.5 minutes, and just kind of moved on, I feel like I don't know, maybe she has an empathy problem in terms of her own life. Like she can empathize with other demons and other people dying and sacrifice herself. And when it comes to people that have been in her life, like for the past 10 years and helped raise her, nope. I'm like, well, thanks for raising me. Peace out, shake my hand, bye. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh no, this is weird. I'm sorry. I felt like it felt like a series finale. There was a lot of tying up of loose ends. In a way, but in a series finale, you get to see characters have more interaction with each other. It's almost like when we talk about this series Charmed on my channel, season 3, sorry. And because of COVID, they had an allergy to each other. The sisters did. It feels like the OGs have an allergy to each other. They must always stand 6 feet apart when they're together, and then they must be completely apart when they don't have business. So it's like they're all worried about COVID. That's what it feels like. That is the best analogy I can come up with in terms of how the OGs don't interact with each other. It's really effing weird. It's just weird. Oh God, I don't think I can make myself go through another season. I always give new seasons a chance, especially if we have new writers, because you never know. You never know. It's weird how they don't mention how they're cousins. Exactly. It doesn't make sense to me. They're like, you're a good friend. She is not just your friend. She is your effing cousin. You guys are literally first cousins. I felt how lackluster this season finale was an indication there will be another season. They can't end a series with an episode like that, and animation wasn't that good. It was very filler. It was. The animation was interesting. There are points where Toa's nose looked like it disappeared completely. Like, I don't know. They're cousins instead of friends. Absolutely. A bit lackluster with some wholesome moments. I did like that they were questioning Shishomaru's love for them and slightly resented him for like never helping. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I like that. It was a realistic conversation. It's like, why did dad make us go through all of this stuff and he never helped us? And it's like, well, technically he did help you a few times, even when Setsuna was like in that little special place for half-breed demons, he was sending weapons and stuff because he obviously knew where she was at all times. Did not know where Toa was because Toa was whole ass in the future. I don't know what he thought. I would have loved to have seen Sashomaru's reaction when Jaken's like, I can't find Toa. I'm like, I don't know where Toa is. Unless the Tree of Ages told him where she was. See, we never got any of that. Like, we never got closure on, did Sesshomaru think his daughter was dead this whole time? So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. They called Inuyasha Mr. Inuyasha. That's so strange. How about Uncle Inuyasha? So strange. I know. It's like they're not a family. I don't get it at all. The whole series was basically about nothing. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't actually know what the series was about. I know what happened. I know what Kurimaru was trying to do, but then what Kurimaru was trying to do, and then what we ended up learning last week was also very confusing and completely unrealistic because none of his actions supported anything that he was doing up until that point. So, you know what? I can take that. That tracks. It's cool Riku is using Kurimaru's ship now. I just think about that. Yeah, that's probably why he wanted help getting rid of the demons. But again, I am not suspending my disbelief on this, guys. We have seen Riku fight. He does not need the girls' help to slay those damn monsters, those sea monsters. He could have done that his damn self. He is very strong. I don't understand why they weakened him other than to make the girls stand out and give them the spotlight. That's the only thing I can think of. And there are better ways of doing that. And Annie is a Trikio beginning the episode like she was right and prophesized everything. Girl, nothing you said was right. I know, right? Yeah. She didn't say anything right. Nothing was right. Unless Rion is a half demon. We don't, I mean, because they did say Khan, and I thought Khan was for, more human, like the soul. I don't know. I have no idea if Rion is she a half demon? Because I don't think she is. We don't know who her mother is, so I mean, it's a moot point. I don't know who the hell would have a child with Kurimaru. You have to watch it as a standalone, but if you compare it to the parent series, you will be disappointed. Now, I watch it. Whenever I watch stuff, I separate it because I have to. Which is how I watch and review Arrowverse shows. Because if I actually compared it to the comic book material or source material, I would never turn my TV on. Let's just put that. That is completely real. The problem isn't that you have to watch it as a standalone. The problem is that the writing is all over the place and that things that they build up, they don't carry through. They make this big a deal about prophecies and all of this stuff. And then when you get down to it in the nitty gritty, the prophecies don't mean anything. So, I mean, and if Riku is back, does that mean Corinne Sensei is also alive? Or did Kurimaru and Rion just grant Riku this new life for helping out Rion and, being an ally and basically sacrificing himself? I don't know how that happened. So, and I don't know if we ever will. So there's that. There's that. And Riku like showing up as Kai, which by the way, Kai was cool. I actually like Kai a little bit. But taking on this Kai persona because he was too embarrassed to show up with the girls is just weird. So I don't know. I mean, how can you be embarrassed when you had no problem telling Towa you were in love with her like a lot? Like never hit it like, at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's hope season 3 has better writers. Yes, absolutely. This episode felt random, like what we got in season 1 and episode 19. It really does. You are absolutely right. Not just episode 1. There was some filler in 2. Like the first half of 2, it was like, why are we watching this? And I guess Sango and Moroku's kids can't join in on the adventure, and all the kids form their own gang. It does seem clannish, like everybody got their little clan or their little high school group. So you're right. If there's a season 3, I want a complete new story. Just pretend season 1 and 2 didn't exist. That's not going to happen. Though they can in their training, they can do some really badass, episodes. But they always have to have like a baddie. There needs to be some kind of antagonist. And right now, I don't know who that would be. So yeah, I'm really curious if they get their own, Naraku, because Grimmaru was not a villain to them. I will stand by that. He was not. He was absolutely not. You need to write a letter to Sunrise because your points are very valid. They won't listen to me. We all know this. The highlight and savior of this episode was the cute Kagome and Yashahime family moments. The only saving point. I will say I did, like I said, I love the fight scene where Moroho had her dad help her fight. I thought that was cool. I loved when he had a little bit of ice on him and it was like scab, and she's like, I can take care of that. And he's like, oh, it'll heal on its own. She's like, I'll do it. And then he starts blushing and he's like, okay. I was like, he is such a softie for his kid, and I love it. But again, I'm just going to put this out here as a parent. If my daughter came to me and said, I know we haven't been around each other for 14 years, but I'm going to go on a training adventure. And I'm like, but we literally have only been together for like a week or 3 days or 2 days. And I haven't seen you in 14 years. And you're going off to fight demons now to get stronger. The hell? Like, it, yeah. By the way, I guess for Koga's appearance, speaking of Koga, I wonder if why didn't Koga and his clan show up when Inuyasha and Kagome came back? You would think Koga would have been there. I know he's married to, Ayame, but why can't he just come and be like, hey, you guys are alive. I took care of your kid for you, I signed into this master. Yes, she may have had a gambling problem and put your daughter in debt, but she kept her alive. Like, I don't know. Yashahime could be so much better. I agree with that. They need to hire writers that did Fruits Basket reboot. They do need a whole new staff. I agree. Maybe the writers were ready for vacation and used the last of their ideas and just said, okay, this works. Yeah, I mean, probably. They could still be working through Zoom too. I want to see Koga's kid. I want to see Koga. I feel like they really missed a chance to give any of the girls dog ears, like maybe Maroha. No, but surely one of the twins should have had them. Would have been so cute. Yeah, I feel like they got their mother's dominant features and then they got their dad's like physical strength and power. I don't know. I think Toa has a lot going on mentally that she can't properly process things. I'm hoping that is what it is, because they're really making her seem to be somebody who really gets over shit really quickly. Like very big life altering things are just like a millisecond thought to her. And I don't know. It doesn't make her a very appealing character, to be honest. I just want more of the priestess side of things and the demon heavy side. I just really miss a lore of the mystical humans and want more Moroku or a monk period. I would love to see that. I really would. I don't know if we're going to see it, but I would love to see that. I expected more in this episode. So did all of us, unfortunately. Do people normally call each other cousins that never met or grew up together? In my family, they do. Like people say, hey, cuz, how you doing, cousin? Absolutely. Absolutely. Just referring to your cousin as a friend and your aunt and uncle as just a Mr. or Miss does not make sense, especially in Japanese. That's not something in Japan. Family is very, close knit. So like, it's not like you're going to ever call your uncle or your aunt son at any point in time. So I don't know why. I mean, they act like strangers. It's really weird. The verbiage and how they talk to each other are just like, they're not related. I don't know. I don't like it personally. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, D. Marie. We didn't even get to see the OG characters catching up. Yep, which was very weird since I didn't even know Inuyasha and Kagome were alive. Yep, for 14 years was just odd to me. I told you they got COVID with each other. I don't know what the heck's wrong with it. Isn't friend more accurate to their unique situation and relationship? They don't seem that close. The two families, first generation to current. Well, if I'm going to go by that logic, then Setsuna and Toa should call each other friends too, because they've been separated too. They may be twins, but they didn't grow up together. They've had different life experiences. They have a memory that's traumatizing of them holding hands and being separated in the forest. But if we're going to go by that specific logic, then Setsuna would be like, she should have said, hey, Toa, thanks for being my friend. And Toa's like, you're my BFF, not my sister, not my family, my friend. See how it sounds? It sounds stupid. I mean, it just sounds stupid. Your cousin and your sister, you are family. You are related. So like, it doesn't matter if they haven't had that whole I grew up with you and, experience. They are related. They've gone through enough shit at this point that they can call each other cousins. And so, no, I don't subscribe to that. I'm sorry. I don't. I think the Tree of Ages told Jockin about Toa, who probably passed it on to Sesshomaru. I wish we would have got that. I don't want to have a series where I have to guess what conversations you had and that we never get privy to it at all in the series. It's like, oh, we just have to assume he knew. Is basically how it is. The series needs a reboot. They need to add some of the legacy characters infused into the series. I agree, for more than just a cameo, because that's what it feels like. They're just doing cameos. I'm just here so people know I'm an Easter egg. Riku finally blushed over Toa. I thought that was cute. Who knows if there's a season 3, but maybe there's a time skip we get to see with Toa kids. I read a few articles saying that they are going to do a season 3 and Sunrise is like on board to do it. So fingers crossed they're accurate, because I saw more than one. So hopefully that is true. I doubt Rion would be a half demon with her dad and aunt history with those individuals. Yeah, but I mean, they've done hypocrisy before. Karimaru is walking hypocrisy. So, I mean, I could see him being like, I have a half demon kid, but because it's my kid, it has superior genes, but all of the rest of you suck. I'm like, I can totally see that. That's not something that is not out of the realm of possibility. I think Rin helps Sesshomaru to love, but in a different way, but not to show it. He loves his daughter, but he wants to see them do things on their own without his help. I do agree with that. I think it's just interesting that we never got a conversation between him and the girls. Like, he doesn't say anything to them. He just stands there and stares. And it's like, it's almost like he's a creeper. I'm so glad this series at least called out some of the BS in this episode. Like Sasuna saying Riku being alive makes no sense. Yep. And Toa saying Sesshomaru could have done more. Yep. God, they acknowledged that. Well, and to be fair, they should have called some BS out on themselves too and been like, and we should have asked more questions in this series and not just accepted things as they came. How Sesshomaru takes care of his daughters is more animal-like. Rin legit is the only thing that moves Sesshomaru. I do believe that. That is a very true statement. Rewatching Charmed, I thought Mel's past flashes were a hex object from Ruby or by Mel, like Grams did in the OG series with her wedding ring and go-go boots that Phoebe and Paige found respectively. That's what I wanted to know, if that's what was going on or if it was just an expansion of her time powers. I don't know. We will see next week, I guess. I think that's the issue, though. After the time frame they had, their characters should have been developed further. Like, he should have been prepped from his decision to marry and have kids with Rin. I agree with that. Like, where are they living, though? Like, do they have a house? Where are they staying? They can't stay on the top of the damn flower hill that they're just standing on. Where do they sleep? I am so confused. I am so confused. I think Rion and Karimaru just gave Riku a second chance at life, but his personality seems a bit different, more human. He is reacting more that way. I agree with that. And that's because he has a soul. I don't think he had a soul when he was just basically a puppet of Karimaru being his horn. So that probably is true. Like, Rin never seemed like the type to be okay not to want to be more in her daughter's life or miss out on their baby years. I know. And she's just completely cool with him running off again. I don't understand this. Side note, Harry's training of Kayla was so harsh. I feel for her. I would get my own support system because they're treating her so poorly, more than Macy got, or even Abby at this point. Sour, yeah, I agree with that. I would have really liked the side series or entire arc of this series in the modern world with the demons or whatever they're hiding. I would like to have had a few movies set 14 years previous. I think that would have been a great way to tie it in. After the season, there's a movie. After the season, there's a movie. You know, I don't know. Well, but the twins, but they are twins with trauma. They are twins with trauma. They really are. I mean, quite frankly, all of them have trauma. Let's be honest, though, the true star of both the series is Kilala. Yep, she's been carrying like 3 to 4 generations of these people, never complaining. She's only been given like 1 episode. I know, right? She's in there as a background character. I don't know, trying to give the writers a lifeboat laugh. Maybe it's just bad translating. It's bad writing. It's just bad writing. You need to make an outline when you write. And then you need to, adhere to this. You need to follow the steps of your outline. You can't be like, oh, I meant to do A, but I went to C. So let me put A in the next stance, and then it'll be in the second section of my outline. And then I'll just put this last finale or all the scenes that I plan to make and in my, part 1, 2, and 3 of my outline. I'm just going to put it in 4 and then call it a finale. That's kind of what they did. I don't like it. Is anyone watching this series to watch them? Or are we watching this for OG characters nostalgia? This is definitely not a Boruto situation or D Gray Man Hollow or Tokyo Ghoul as a series sequel. I'm watching the series for both because I want to see what happened to the parents. Because I mean, you're not going to get that, if you don't watch the sequel. But I'm also watching to see how their kids progress. But I also want to see how they have relationships with their parents. And that's something that was just effed up. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot they could have done to rewrite this series and make it a hell of a lot better. Part of me feels they could have removed the entire Dream Butterfly and Rainbow Pearl plot lines and almost nothing would have changed. Yeah. Well, hell, the Shika no Tama basically being, it's almost like the Rainbow Pearls coming together to form this crystal. It kind of like negates almost everything that happened with Kagome in the OG series. It's like really all we really had to do was stop Zero from effing crying. Like then we wouldn't have had Naraku or any of this other no. Kikyo wouldn't have died. None of this shit would have happened. It's just like, so essentially it's Zero's fault. I mean, it's just really weird. I don't know. I don't like when they retcon OG stuff. I don't like it. Just leave it alone. I'd rather have a continuation than a retcon. I miss how Sesshomaru was in the original Inuyasha, and he had more personality. He really did. That is not lost on me. Maybe we can make an argument that when Rin went into a coma, he just didn't care about life anymore. I don't know. Exactly. When he brushed his daughters off again and said, "Let's go, Rin," all I can think of was to where. We are the fans deserve better. Like, seriously, there's nowhere for them to go. Like, are they just going to walk around for a little while? We're going to go on a training mission too. Why? Build your wife a house, live in it. Well, first of all, can you see Sesshomaru living in one of the houses in Kaide's village? No, not at all. Can Kagome get a standalone movie after the OG series, but before this series of her training with Kaide with her full unlocked powers? Because we never got that or can see what she can do. I agree with that. We saw a little bit. She is a lot more badass as a priestess, but I would love to see all that. I think these are such missed opportunities for the show. It's so irritating. It really is. I think if they kept the concept of this series, but made the girls have a childhood with the parents and made this whole Karimaru thing like a movie after, it would have been better. I absolutely agree. Having the girls go out and train to be as strong as their parents and actually having having the real rights of cowardice and have them. Well, I don't know. Would Miroha actually go through that? Because she's only a quarter demon. I thought it was just half demons. I don't know. I don't know the rules for quarter demons. That's the problem. Because they are technically more human. So I really have no idea what her rite of passage would be in terms of proving herself. And who she proving herself for? Inuyasha don't care. Like, because Kagome won't let Inuyasha care. Inuyasha is not allowed to be disappointed in his child because Kagome will kick his ass. That's basically what I have learned. It's not like Sesshomaru and Rin, where Rin's just very... Sorry about that, guys. I don't know. My internet just kind of jumped for a second. But yeah, I feel like I would love to know what Miroha's stance is in that. So that's interesting. I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do differently with this show. True on the Rainbow Pearls, like what was the point at this point? Yep. I felt like I was watching this series for Riku. You probably were. I'm like, you probably were. Yeah, they bypassed Inuyasha and Kagome a lot. Like, I get the focus on Sesshomaru's family, but like now, no one really acknowledges Inuyasha and Kagome. I know, it's so sad. The Rainbow Pearls plot was such a knockoff of the Shikon Jewel, which at this point was way more potent of an art. I know, right? I don't get it. And then we never saw them again. The pearls are just gone. I'm like, we never saw them again. I don't even think Kagome was a priestess in the OJ series. She was running on instinct and raw power. She was the reincarnation of Kikyo. So maybe we can go by the logic of Narnia. Once a priestess, always a priestess, even if you don't realize you're a priestess. Because she was using priestess ability whenever she would shoot an arrow. So being a reincarnation of one of the most badass priestesses of that, that world makes you a priestess by default. And then she trained to be a priestess more with Kaide. So I don't know. She had to train her powers more. I get about not seeing Sesshomaru living in the village, but I also don't see him with money, yet he can afford the wealthiest of fabrics of kimonos with no pockets. You know, you are absolutely correct. I've never questioned the money system in Inuyasha because people just seem to have stuff, and Kagome was always bringing stuff in, from the future. So you're right. I don't know where Sesshomaru is getting the coin from. I don't know. Does he sleep? Have we ever seen him lay down and sleep outside the time that he was injured and Rin found him? And the point in this series when his soul and demons energy or Haku was being drained. Have we ever seen him actually lay down and go to sleep willingly? I don't know. That is a good question. I think the manga seems better than the anime. Almost every manga is better than the anime. Let's be clear. Lord Sesshomaru has the bag. He is demonic royalty, but his mom is royalty. Does she give him an allowance? I mean, does he go to his mother and get the bank? I don't know. And then why doesn't Inuyasha have cash? Because his dad was royal. He's the son of his dad, who was, the demon lord. So why can't he have money? I feel like the parent series was about Inuyasha and the sequel series about Sesshomaru's family. Let me go back to that. Inuyasha should have money. Not only should he have money, he should have been able to pay off his daughter's debt without going to slay that demon. I'm just putting it out there. But yeah, I do agree with that about this. The parent series was about Inuyasha, and the sequel series is about Sesshomaru's family, which is what it is, I guess. Sesshomaru has a secret night job. That's why he's so bitter. That's hilarious. Do you think a claymore can take Sesshomaru? Could Alan Walker take out Inuyasha? Not in their own universes, but maybe if they were on neutral battlefield, probably. I don't know. Sesshomaru just seems OP as hell, though. That's just me. I don't know. That's a good question, though. You asked a very good question. I don't know. That's something I would like to see, especially in a video game, like a fighting game. I like fighting games, so I would be down with that, like a Capcom style game, and that would be really cool. But yeah, it is 41 minutes and counting. I think this is all I had to say about this episode. If you guys still want to have, a conversation about it, you have any concerns, questions, theories, or what the heckness, make sure to put it in the comments below. We are going to have our Owl House review at 12 my time, which is Central Standard Time. If you were in my stream last night, I have plumbers coming back into my house around the same time as that stream. So hopefully they will not be too loud. If so, I apologize, but they are trying to fix a pipe in my bathroom that is leaking in my downstairs neighbor's apartment. So fingers crossed they get that done, because there's no water in that room. And then your girl loves her bubble baths. So I just need to have my bubble baths. But we will definitely be having our Owl House, and then I should have my Kung Fu videos for episode 2 and 3 simultaneously filmed and uploaded later today. So be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, if it is day for you, have a good day. If it is night for you, have a good night. And I hopefully will see you on my next stream, which will be the Owl House. Bye, guys.